All right. Well, friends, today we are going to finish the book of Ruth. Ruth chapter 4. So in the last chapter, the last thing that was said was Naomi looked at Ruth and she says, Boaz, I think that he's going to get this settled today. She actually didn't say I think. She said, you just watch. He's going to settle this today. You know, he's going to make sure that you guys can get married today. And boy, was she right. It just goes to show how much, I mean, they don't say, you know, this isn't meant to be like a romantic story, but it really just goes to show that Boaz was really excited to marry Ruth. And I said last time that he was a type of Jesus. You know, he was a symbol of Jesus for us today. And it really goes to show that in the same way that we need Jesus, like Ruth needed Boaz, you know, God really loves us. And, you know, he wants to settle this matter today. So yeah, Boaz goes out and talks to the person who is more closely related to Naomi, the mother-in-law. And he says, hey, do you want to buy the land that belonged to Elimelech, Naomi's husband, Ruth's father-in-law? And he said, yes, I would like to buy the land. And he said, you should know that along with the land, you'll have to marry Ruth, the Moabite. And he goes, on second thought, I don't think so. And so he takes off his sandal, which is something that they did back then. It was like a symbol that they were exchanging land. What they would do is they would walk around the perimeter of the land that they were selling. And once they got done, the one that was selling the land would take off his sandal, and he would say, you know, this foot will not touch this land anymore. You know, it doesn't belong to me anymore. You know, it's yours. And so the guy, you know, even though they didn't walk around the perimeter of the land, he takes off his sandal and he says, you know, I'm giving this land, or at least the right to buy this land, over to you. And so he says, you know, in front of all these witnesses, let it be known that I'm buying this land and I'm marrying Ruth the Moabite. Part of the reason that the other guy, I mean, he wasn't mentioned, so I'll call him the other guy. Part of the reason that the other guy wasn't keen on marrying Ruth, partially because he didn't know Ruth, partially because she was a Moabite. And Moabite people were not exactly, you know, loved by the Israelites. But it meant that if he had a child through Ruth, that that land would go to that child, and it would be under Ruth's ex-husband's name. You know, they're redeeming the name of her family. So, you know, if he didn't have to marry him, if he didn't have to marry Ruth, he probably already had children. That land would go to his children. It would really just increase the inheritance of his children. Boaz, on the other hand, didn't have any children. So if Ruth has a baby, then, you know, there's no issue there. So yeah, what I think is probably a bigger miracle in this story, rather than Ruth getting married, is that she was barren before she married. And as soon as she marries Boaz, they have a child, it appears to be right away, which must be an amazing blessing, but just to have a child. But then we read something kind of amazing that they have a son and they named him Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse, and Jesse was the father of David. David, the king of Israel. So he became the king of all the land. Most of you would probably know this, but the same David as David and Goliath. So this, we're finding out at the very end of the story, if you've never read the story before, that this is a story about King David's great-grandmother, Ruth.